Okay, so I guess starting off, you're Kyle Randalls. You are a Highland Games athlete. How did you get started in the sport?
I always sort of coin the expression I
Hmm.
fell into the sport. So in Scotland, I don't know what it's like for you guys in the States and sort of grassroots, but most people within the Highland Games, especially the heavy events in Scotland, it tends to be either a family or a local connection. Now, I am lucky I've got a few local Highland Games within 30 minutes drive, which I know for you guys is nothing, but for us here, that's like a big deal. But I did track and field through the wire hammer. I reluctantly did the shot put and the discus. And I basically had a coach that came from a Highland Games background and sort of ushered me into it. A gentleman by the name of Willie Robertson competed at the Commonwealth Games in the old
Hmm.
backhold wrestling. But he basically sort of planted the seed of Highland Games heavy events. I went on for a few years sort of trying to chase athletics and then sort of realised that the Highland Games is where my sort of heart was,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. And that was so. First Highland Games, I was 14. 14. The first time I did an open, I was 15. So I'll be 20 years throwing this year since I did my first sort of Highland Games, which
That's a
blows my mind.
long time for someone your age. There are not many of you guys out there.
Yeah. Believe me though, this year, last year into this year,
Oh
I've been
yeah.
feeling it more than ever.
How old are you now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've just turned 34, so I'm a
I guess I
December
could have
baby.
done that math really quickly because you said 20 years.
Ah, but you know.
That's fine. Uh,
Here's another one for you. My first ever Highland Games, the one I threw in the open, I was thrown against. Let me get this right.
mhm.
Jason Young, who I don't know if you'll know, but he's a very big
Yeah.
character in the games here. Gregor Edmonds and Hamish Davidson. There's the
Wow.
four of us. That was my first experience of the
Dude,
open.
that's
That's
a
what they
that's
call it.
a gang of guys. You're just 15 years old out there.
Yep, yep. It was
Yeah.
pretty insane.
That's cool. Did you do athletics from like a young age, or did you like pick that up in like high school or whatever you guys call high school?
I would say I used to be
Okay.
a sprinter, believe it or not. So ones and twos were my sort of thing, and then as I got slightly older, it was less ones and more twos. And I have no idea why, but I was excellent at relays, and I don't know if it's because you kind of got up to speed and then you got
Yeah.
handed a baton. But I don't know if they still stand, but from under 13 and under 15 age groups in Scotland, my sort of core of our team had all the Scottish records. From under 15, I just
Hmm.
started doing this, and my times were doing this. And the gentleman I mentioned earlier, Willie Robertson, actually said to me, as bluntly as, "You're shite at running, you'd be much better throwing." And that's what sort of began the wayward path to the throw into the
Yeah.
Highland Games. So yeah, I was a sprinter. That's kind of what my background was. Played some football or soccer, as you might call it, when I was sort of primary school or
Yeah.
elementary school, I think, into high school, and then it was running for me. Definitely not running
Everyone
now.
over there kind of just plays football at like growing up. That's like the go-to sport to play.
Absolutely. I mean, from the age of 8 or 9 up till literally I was 16, my friends and I would be there was like a local garage, and they had massive like sheet metal doors, and we would use that as a goal and just play football there every night. There'd be like a road behind it. It's insane to think about now, but yeah, we'd just be kicking balls against a shutter till like 10 o'clock at night. The neighbours must have hated us.
Yeah. I keep bringing up this is going to turn into a soccer podcast one of these days. So I just keep bringing it up because like I wasn't exposed to it like at a young age like people in like Europe and Scotland were. I'm finding out now for like just kind of like watching Premier League on the TV. I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. This is actually it's not a bad sport.
It has its moments. It has its moments, but I'm much more of a rugby man. I played a bit of rugby from sort of high school to every year now. I try not to because I've never. You get very little from it other than feeling like you've been in a car crash, and then you'll play the next weekend and you're just starting to feel normal again. And No, it doesn't go well with sort of intense training for throwing.
You know, I would like to watch more rugby, but like I would have to go out of my way to watch it. It's not like put in front of my face. Like now I turn on like what is it? I think
Right.
either Peacock or Apple TV or something like that, and like they're just trying to make me watch Premier League. So I'll oblige. But if they did the same for rugby, you better believe like I'm gonna be watching the hell out of that stuff.
Well, we have the Six Nations, it's called, which is your sort of British Isles teams, so Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and England. You have France and you have Italy in it, and that's your Six Nations. That kicks off in a month, 2 months' time, and that's some of the best rugby you can watch, other than New Zealand, South Africa, and it's kind of the roots of rugby and where it started. So, if you did want to get into it, that's the best possible time and sort of avenue.
Well, I wrote that down. I'm gonna circle back to that later. Well, what's this I hear about? Because like we don't get a ton of information about how you guys do like heavy athletics over there. We get people that go over there for a week or whatever, see it, and like come back with an understanding of what it is. But I've heard you and I've heard other people talk about the under 25s league. What's that?
Ah, yeah. It's pretty much what it says on the tin. So I don't know what it's like for you guys. I haven't encountered many North American throwers that are like younger than maybe their mid to late 20s or like post. Would you call it collegiate? Is that the right word?
Yeah,
collegiate throwing. Yeah. So here there's like no real avenue, and if you can imagine, like at 15, I shouldn't have been doing the Open really. Other than the Scots Hammer, I wasn't particularly great. So there's not really an avenue for young, like I don't want to say kids because they're young adults, but to just sort of learn the ropes and throw. So it's 18 to 25. It's sponsored by Glenfiddich, which is obviously quite a big whiskey sort of company, and they're part of a family of whiskies. But that's sponsored by them, and it's a real avenue for a lot of young lads. Like most of the young I say young, I'm 34. But myself and the lads I compete against that are all from Scotland, like we're all sort of graduates of the under 25s, and honestly, it's just a bit of a lifeline before you go from like throwing the under 18s to getting your arse whipped, sort of throwing in the Open against some crazy good throwers. It's like a nice breach where you can sort of find the lay of the land and throw with the senior implements rather than the younger stuff, or the lighter stuff rather, a younger age group. So it's kind of like it's almost like a lifeline.
How many guys like were like involved in that, like in that kind of group?
It varies sort of year to year, and I think it's struggled a bit since COVID, but it's coming into like a sort of a strong suit now. But when I did it from the age of 18 to 25, you're probably talking about some games would have 10 plus throwers just in the under 25s. And it's also funny, I look back now, not at the start, but as time went on, I would do the under 25 events, so it's only 5 events. It's the light putt, lightweight, light hammer, weight for height, which is £42, and then a caber. And that's what you do at that age. We would do that in the morning, and if you were good enough, you could then do the Open as well. So we'd throw 13 events. And see the thought of doing that now. My back, my knees, my shoulders, my hands, everything's like, nah.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It's not for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the under 25s for a while because we don't really have that here. We have a junior class, and they're now just kind of like I guess getting more organized in the sense that like everyone kind of is agreeing that the juniors will throw this weight and not the masters 60 plus women's weight, which is just too light for a 17-year-old boy. Like his heavyweight should not be the 21. Like that's too light. So I think they're making it heavier, and they're tracking records a little bit more closely now, which is like getting people fired up. But there's a huge gap from, a 190-pound 18-year-old, which is a pretty big 18-year-old these days, like to throwing like the 56 in the Open. That's like I feel like we could benefit from having a bit of a lifeline there. And like we've got the population for it. We've got enough athletes that we can facilitate a kind of like a separate group to try to foster development, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lifeline because, I mean, the thought of like going from throwing like we use kilograms, sorry, so it'd be like a 14-pound shot to even a 16 is quite a big jump at that sort of age. So going from throwing like, I'm pretty sure I was under 17s, I was throwing a 28-pound weight for height.
yeah,
It just doesn't work.
it's too light.
It's too light. But 28 to 56 is insane. So I think it is necessary if the sport's going to sort of continue to exist and sort of draw in fresh blood.
Yeah, I think that's like the hugest thing is just to draw in new people. Most guys don't find the games until they're after 25. That's most people.
Yeah.
And like in the States these days, it kind of seems like you don't find the games until you're 39. Like that's like we've got a big boom in masters throwers, and I think it's just because all their friends are doing it. So next thing, it's like CrossFit for the weird 40-year-olds. They find the games and get into it.
Yeah, I mean, the Masters here is pretty much non-existent. I don't know if I could tell you a single games that has like Masters events. I don't think there's one. There's a couple of older folks that maybe throw in the Open or maybe in some local stuff, but there is not like a Masters games. It's pretty much all just Open.
You guys' like system is just kind of different than ours.
Yeah, that's one way to sort of umbrella.
Well, okay, well before we get into that, you've competed in the States, right? You've gone to North South and you've been to Minnesota, right?
Yeah, that was way back. I think that was 2000 and I want to say 9, but I could be wrong. I don't know when.
Yeah,
a long time
that's
ago.
funny. Like you're out. You've been in the sport long enough that like if you just dig around for like Highland game stuff on the internet, like there's going to be a lot of you on there. Yeah, you're pretty deep.
Oh no.
What?
Oh no! Don't say that. Makes it sound.
What's some like your like I don't know, like a comparison between like the United States and how you guys do in Scotland? What's like a big thing that's different?
I would say that. I mean, this could be a long conversation. It depends how long you want to talk just now. For me and what I've witnessed with my own eyes and experiences, I would say that the American heavy events, or I'm going to say Highland Games, and what I don't mean is the Highland Games as a whole. I mean like the throwing element. I would say you guys are a lot more accommodating to anybody that wants to throw. Whereas I would say over here, if you, most importantly, A, don't know what you're doing and haven't done it before, and B, can't do it safely / well, there'll be quite often times where you're sort of ushered away. And sometimes that's correct because of the environment, but there's other times where there needs to be somewhere where you can sort of earn your stripes. And I would say in America, you guys do that pretty well. It's a lot more sort of encouraging. Whereas here it can be a bit more difficult to kind of sink your teeth in. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, like we want as many people like throwing as we can, and so like sometimes we can be too accommodating for people that don't know what they're doing and are unsafe. But I mean, that's kind of like just you're on the field so much, like you can kind of like judge like how unsafe actually is this, like. Is anyone really going to get hurt or right? So you let them go. But when we have like, or we had, it's still debatable whether or not this is in existence, but like the ABC class, right? You start in the C class, you work yourself up to A and then to pro if you so desire. But I think that's a nice little thing to get new throwers to throw with other new throwers, and like they can kind of come up together, just like you and the same guys that you're throwing with now. You guys all came up in the under 25s. I think that's a nice little thing that we have.
I would say that neither of our systems are perfect, and there's probably benefits to each of them, but it's just getting a balance sort of between them, if that makes sense.
I like that they are so different.
I don't know if that came through there. Sorry.
I like that they're so different. Like you guys have your way of doing it and we have ours, and we're trying to change how we do it every 2 years, it seems. But
and it seems like there's someone in every direction doing something different, and there's not like a sort of sheet that's all over. You know, it's kind of sometimes watching it from afar, it's sort of like, oh, what's going on? Whereas I suppose we're lucky and unlucky here. We have a governing body, so it's kind of on rails, and if you don't agree with the rails, you're kind of in trouble. But you kind of know what you're getting, if that makes sense.
Do you think that the governing body's helpful?
I think there's a lot of people trying hard, and I think there's a lot they get right, but there's some things they get wrong. And I suppose it's also from the aspect that we don't just have the heavy events. We're a little piece of this big jigsaw, so it's kind of keeping everyone happy. And every piece of the jigsaw, us included, think we're the most important. So, you know, I don't envy their job, is what I would say.
Yeah. I get reminded of this all the time, especially when I'm saying Highland Games and not heavy athletics, that there are other people involved in Highland Games, that it's not just throwers. And I barely, like Quidditch. I barely believe that. So I think we're generally the most important.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
But what are some other differences? Do you think we do the sport, the activity? Think we do it justice over here?
I think there's ways that I'm blown away by how efficient it is, and there's ways that I feel sad. But the biggest thing for me is implements and the actual things you throw. Like over here, there's implements you throw that are decades old. Some claim to be over 100 years old, and I don't think you can buy that. I don't think there's a way to. You have to earn that over years of being thrown. Now that does mean a lot of weights aren't perfect. They have their flaws. Hammers have flaws. Stones have flaws. Cabers even they're wildly different, and you can't throw on a Saturday and like we'll often compete in a full Highland Games on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you will not touch the same implement or even two things that look the same on certain weekends. And it's a wild variety. So I always find it funny, like you can go on Nazca, for example, or whatever one's floating about just now. I know there's a couple that are sort of in the sphere, so to speak, but Nazca's the one that always jumps to my mind. But you could jump on Nazca and you could go through it and you could like look at someone's throwing, and it'll be pretty, you know, the putt will be pretty uniform, the weights will be uniform, you get an idea. Here, like, I could go to Aberdeen Games, which is probably one of the nicest stones in Scotland, and putt 55 feet, as I've done before, and you think, whoa, Kyle can putt. And then within a couple of weeks, I can be away to like Stonehaven Games, where the putt is probably one of my least favourite is dense, and I'll putt 47 foot. So it's all over the place, but it's also the uniqueness of it. And some of the hammers we have here are absolute flyers, and there's others that you would never want to throw. If like I'm thinking of a Boynes hammer, it's 24 plus pounds. It's the most insane heavy hammer I've ever thrown in my life, and they know it's that weight, but that's the one that you always throw. So I think that's something that what happens here is if an implement breaks and you're in mid competition, there isn't just here's one I made earlier. It's often repaired by us or the judges that are there at the time, or if we're lucky, there's a spare. Whereas the only time I've ever thrown in North America and a hammer hasn't broken was when I was in Fergus. Every time I've been at any other games, a hammerhead's come flying off every single time in each event, which is real confidence booster. But I've been blown away that someone's just pulled out another hammer, put it on, that's you, go again. You're like, whoa, you know, it's insane to me that it's. So I think that's another thing that's there's not a lineage that I would say I think is incredible. We've got the history of these wonderful implements. Like I'm sure you've heard about the weight at Sky that you put your hand in. Like you can't replace that, but at the same time, you can go to games in America and you're throwing these beautiful weights that actually want to fly. I mean, that's my long-winded way of giving you an answer without giving you an answer.
I really do appreciate.
The biggest thing I would say is the pro-amateur thing basically doesn't exist here.
But you guys had.
So touch on
you guys had like an amateur and kind of like and then maybe not pro but paid, right? And that's kind of.
Yeah, and it just literally dissolved over maybe 5-10 years, maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago. It just literally the amateur. So it's now almost entirely in one.
The amateur went away.
Sphere.
Now it's all just paid, right?
But there is still games that are called amateur games, and they come under athletics rules, which you throw
So,
from a circle.
okay, yes, I wrote that down.
Go.
So this is going back to like earlier when I mentioned that Americans go over there, they see a thing, and they're like, this is how they do it in Scotland. They come back and tell us about it, and they're going to try and reinvent the wheel because of what they saw in Scotland. But I'm like, I know enough, and I haven't been there. I will soon. I haven't, so I don't know exactly, but I've seen enough video and talked to enough people to know that they're not all the same. The ones that follow athletics rules and they throw out of a circle, guys have gone over there and seen those and been like, oh, they throw in a sector and they throw out of a circle in Scotland. And I'm like, no, they don't. I don't think they do. Not all the time.
No, not all the time. And there are, in the rule book, which I'm going to level with, never once looked at this to get the definitive sort of written down version, but I will often be at games where the judge will walk out to the middle of the sector, maybe 10 metres, like 30 feet, and then we'll take a couple of strides, kind of squint and look, put a stick in the ground, that's one side, go back to the middle, repeat it the other way, stick a stick in, there's your sector. Now, it doesn't often always end up like this, it's sometimes like that, depends how many whiskies have been had, and you just have to accept it, which can be very frustrating at times, but that's the field. It's the same for everyone else.
We're kind of on the same page here in the States with that. It's just that your judge or your marker will just kind of do something, and you're like, okay, I wish you wouldn't have done that, but we're all going to throw it, so might as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of charm of it all, and like when you're younger, you get annoyed at stuff, and you'll maybe say something to some of the judges or the older heads in the games, and you'll very quickly learn that you just
it's not
stay quiet. Because you never change anyone's mind and it doesn't benefit you.
And there are games that like I go to and I know like one of the implements are just going to be crap, and that's just what it is, and I'm okay with it, and I kind of want them to like stick with it and like just keep that crappy hammer forever, because that's just what it is. Like I threw one last year, and the hammer, it was probably 24 pounds. It had to have been. It was heavy. And it was on a PVC handle, and they're like, everyone told me, this was my first time there, and they're like, oh, this hammer, you're not going to get any flex out of that handle whatsoever. They're like, I'm pretty sure it's made of wood, like a baseball bat. And I get there and I'm like, oh, it's PVC. And they're like, oh, wow, it's going to be a flyer today, because like previous years it's been wood, like a wooden rod. And I try to bend it. This is the thickest PVC I've ever seen. It wouldn't bend at all. And I was like, all right, so it's still just a 24-pound club. I'll throw it. Yeah. Why not?
Did they have a rod in it?
No, it's just
or
thick PVC, and it was cold. So like it had no flex. Yeah. And it was one of the worst. I think it was probably the worst hammer I threw all year, or heavy hammer. And it was even like downhill. I hit the lowest spot on this field, and it was still like, I think it was like 92 or something. I was getting everything I got. I couldn't make that thing fly.
It's funny. Braemar, which in my opinion is probably the most prestigious games in the world, or is at least in the conversation, both of the hammers there for years were hickory, and they are some of the most difficult hammers to sort of finish and lift, just because they're not giving you any flex. So they're always a bit of a challenge to throw, especially because the hammers are towards the end of the day. But again, like you've just said, when you know there's a crappy implement coming, it doesn't bother you as much, because you can kind of think about it, if that makes sense, and you're prepared for it.
And you mentioned earlier, like, we don't have the old implements, right? Like we don't have stuff from the 1800s. Like my friend Tom, he went to Scotland years ago and came back with a weight over bar implement, and like the ring on it, dude, the ring on it is like that big. It's like you can only fit 3 fingers in there, and it's stamped on there like 1830 something, and I'm like, that's really cool. And we don't have anything that old, not yet. But I do appreciate when games, like, they have a stone or they have a lightweight, and like that's their thing, and they're gonna keep this implement forever, and that's what everyone's going to throw, whether it's perfect or not. This is what it is.
Also touching on what you've said, which I think is class, as I've never been to Portland games, and I know of the Portland Stone. I've heard so many people talk about it. So you get these little legends of events. That I know it's a bad example, but there's so many stones that it's always stones, like, or weights that are really nice. So like I always heard of this Portland Stone, how awful and awkward it was to throw, and as someone who, the more awkward and the heavier a stone gets, the better it seems to go for me. I always had this little itch. I'd love to see it. I'd love to try it, sort of thing. But yeah,
I was going to say the Portland stone was like 99 pounds. You got to throw it like with.
So the closest we have here is a Highland Games called Kenmore, and I'm just going to get the name of the stone for you. But that's, I think,
Yo, is that how
100.
fast you type?
I can't get the exact. It's called the. Yeah, that was the Torini stone. Guess that is how fast I type. Does it sound impressive? Yeah. Excellent. I'll take that.
Good job.
Put that on the CV. Thanks, man. I'll take that. Take that to the back.
You said the Torini stone? Okay.
Torini stone. So Kenmore Highland Games, a very unique one because it's at night time. And we normally start throwing at about 6 o'clock, and I will be lucky if I'm home the same day.
Why are
if that makes sense? It tends to
why
be
are they
just
doing
after
that?
midnight. No idea. It's always been at night. It's something that the games fall victim to here. A lot of them will literally be like, we are the first Saturday in July, and whatever date that lands on, that's when they're doing it. So we have, I would say there's 3 or 4 weekends in Scotland where you have more than 3 games on the same day. And they're not always like all over the place. Sometimes they're pretty close to each other, which is insane to me. But the games are quite stubborn. They've always been at the same time. Kenmore's an example of that. It's a really nice wee games, but you will never be eaten alive by midges like this in your life, or mosquitoes, I guess you'd call them. Very similar. They'll just devour you because it's right on Loch Tay. Like literally, you could throw stones into the loch, and they just come out if it gets sunny. Which it sounds nice. It's awful.
I threw in Austin,
but yeah, it's quite a unique game.
I threw in Austin, Texas this year, and like this is after like it's already been cold. Like it's been cold once, and then this weekend the games were on. Like it kind of warmed up, and so all the mosquitoes that were just like lying dormant came out, and they swarmed the entire field. Oh, dude, they're just like, yeah, dude, it was a feeding frenzy on all us athletes. There were probably 60 people in the field, all just constantly swinging their arms, swinging towels around because like you could not stand still, or you were just like I still have like scratches on my legs from like how bad I was like itching them. But yeah, apparently that's not a normal thing that happens, but it did, and it was miserable.
Well, there's a couple of games in Scotland where you'll be eaten alive. You can pretty much bank on it.
What was I saying about? So I was going to say the Portland stone. You mentioned that one. That one's, I think it was like 99 pounds. The problem is the Portland Games is gone. For now, they come back. They go away. They come back. But that Portland stone still exists. It's still out there somewhere. And I worry that it gets lost with time because like, sure, it hasn't been around very long, but like the stone itself has already built kind of a reputation to where like we're talking about it right now and we can't even go throw it. Like it's already built a bit of a legend, and I would like to see it like preserved. I don't know who has it, but I would like someone who cares about it to have it for, I don't know, sometime in the future. You never know.
So you run your own games, right? Do you have any unique / shitey implements?
Yeah, I've got, well, so we have an equipment guy. I got a guy that has all the cabers. He's got the standards and all in a nice trailer to unload. And so I use all his, and they're all his name's Doug. Shout out Doug. They're all fine. I've never PR'd with any of his implements, and I've thrown them a bunch, and I can't tell you why I've never PR'd. I'm like, they're fine. They do what they're supposed to. But I was at a pro class this year, and so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a perfect stone. I'm going to find the stone. So I found a stone, and it weighed about 14 pounds, and I was like, well, that's just not going to do. But the stone was too good in hand to just like abandon. So I proceeded to drill holes in it, fill it full of lead, and epoxy over it so it'll make weight. And I got it to like right at like 16. So I was like, it's mostly 16. Let's put it that way.
Sounds like it'd be a weird one to sit in at the neck if there's some very dense points.
Maybe. I haven't thrown it yet, so I've never thrown it once. I did throw it when it was like 14 pounds.
This guy making a legend and he's not even put it out there
no,
yet.
I had other people throw it. All the pros threw it, and they did very well. But to be fair, it might have been underweight. The morning of, I don't know. It's shitty scales. It reads different every time, but it was good enough for these 5 guys to throw in front of no one. So that's just
yeah. And when they tell the story, it can be whatever they want it to be, right?
I mean, I'm going to continue to use that stone, but I am going to make it heavier. So like it's 16.4 pounds or whatever. Like so, like it's a genuine 16 because like it's too good to not have it be overweight, and it's only going to get better with age once like more hands touch it and like smooth it out a little bit. It's gonna be great.
So I don't know if there's probably loads. I just didn't. None are jumping to mind.
Well, let's nail down the circle thing because I don't think we nailed that down. You guys throw out of a circle.
I mean, there's maybe like off the top of my head, I can think of maybe 5 games that still do it. So it's less regular now than it used to be. So when I first started like 20 years ago, let's say, God, I feel old. When I first started 20 years ago, there's maybe more like 10, 15. So it's kind of disappearing. But it's some of the lads or the older gentlemen now that judge that used to do the amateur stuff that we're keeping it alive. And sadly, as they pass, it's sort of diluting down.
Do you like throwing out of a circle, or would you prefer like a wing trig?
It doesn't bother me anything except the weight. I don't know how anyone can 2-turn properly in a 9-foot circle, because when you're in a box, you've actually got like maybe 10 and a half feet across it. But in a circle, it's so difficult. I've never thrown 80 foot from a circle. I've been like 79, but I've never thrown 80. It's so much harder just to stay in.
You guys.
But I also glide, so the glide in a circle is pretty much just the same. It doesn't.
And you're gliding off a 9-foot circle too, right? Like they don't make.
No, so sorry, I should say it's very similar to the setup with the amateur stuff with the professional. The difference is it's not a rectangle; it's just a circle. So you did the putt from I think it's a 7-foot circle. I don't think it's 7'6". Don't quote me on that. Never looked at the rule book. And then the big circle is 9 foot, the same as the box. It's a discus circle basically. That's what they sort of use for it. Sorry, wee man's going for his bath, so he was being told to wait in the water cooling down. He wasn't having it, and the dog's joined us.
Nice.
So, although I just realised his cushion's there.
He's always with us.
It's funny. I just realised I'm wearing this and feel like a dick now. But almost every podcast that look at us, pair a knob and say. Almost every podcast Sinclair and I have recorded in person. He's been sitting in it. So it's kind of funny. Makes me laugh to think about it.
I got some more questions about.
Sorry, total gradient.
I got some more questions about Scotland. You guys drug test over there, right? How does that work?
Yes. So I've had a couple of gentlemen see my penis more times than I care to admit.
Me too, I mean. But different reasons.
So by that, what I mean is oh. But it's a urine test, and it comes under just UK anti-doping, or it's WADA, so it's the same sort of shindig you'd get at sort of Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, all that. The way it's worked when I've been throwing is that you turn up to compete, anyone can be selected, but what they tend to do on a lot of occasions is if someone's there and their performances have just done that, they do look at the data, or so we've been told. But what tends to happen is, so there's a couple of games that you're pretty much tested every year. Creef's one of them, and Braymar's very regular, the two of those. So at Creef, whenever they test, it tends to be whoever wins the overall, as in the champion of Creef Highland Games. And then sometimes it's whoever wins, say, the heavy hammer, or whoever wins the lightweight, and that's who they'll test. And they'll decide that at the start of the day, and it doesn't matter who it is, that's who they take, if that makes sense. But it's fully under WADA's sort of umbrella, so say you did get tested and it comes back positive, you're banned under that umbrella from all competition. I suppose it's one of the biggest sort of discrepancies between you guys and us, because I hope I'm not speaking out of line here, but I don't think there's anything sort of in that form over your guys' way, really, other than the
Celtic
classic,
is,
right?
as far as I understand, the only one that openly tests. And there's been discussion, and I got someone coming on to talk more about this in the future. But the Masters World Championship is putting it into their rules that they're going to test for their championship for select individuals. No one knows what that actually looks like or what that means, and if we need it or not. That's like most of like that's the only reason why I bring it up is just because like some people find it necessary, others don't. Do you find it necessary?
Yeah. I'm a pretty staunch believer in the system, and I'd rather have something there that's flawed than nothing at all. I think with it's not something I'm well versed on, but I think there's a lot of detrimental effects that come with a lot of these things that we don't fully understand. So I think it's more than just an edge in performing. I think health-wise, it's not a good thing. If you look at a lot of strongman strength athletes, throwers from the last 50 years, there's not many of them that have lived sort of late into their life. So I'm a staunch believer in it. I get a lot of flack for it at times. But yeah, I mean, if you're coming to Scotland and you're a good thrower or you're a bad thrower, who knows? You can be chosen at random, and it does happen. There was a Canadian master that was over, and he got chosen at the same time as me 2 years ago when we were at Perth. He was kind of sitting like, what the hell's going on? But he was good. There was no sort of positive flags coming back. But yeah, it's a very regimented process, and it's one of those crazy things that I worry about. Like, I don't know, vitamins I'm taking. You're sitting there like sweating. Oh, they're made in a lab. What happens if there's some? It's crazy the things that go through your head, and they don't tell you. No news is good news. That's what they tell you. But yeah, for some reason, every time someone's tested in Scotland and they're Scottish, it's me or Sinclair.
Yeah, it's interesting, and like tainted supplements is like, I'm told, a real thing, right? Like you think it's just vitamins or whatever. Next thing you know, it was made in the same vat that they make Tren in, and next thing you know, you're pissing hot. Or
yeah, but it's one of those things. I mean, I don't know this, but I imagine there's a real cultural divide. I feel like when you speak to Americans over the years that do throwing, I think is it TRT you call it?
Yeah.
Is that the right, Brandon? That's so culturally normal for you guys, whereas here just no one does that. I think it's becoming more common, but like no one.
But don't you guys?
It's not like a regular thing.
Don't you guys have like legal steroids where like you can just buy them?
I think you do. Again, it's such a grey area, and it is weird. Like, I don't want to name people, but there's throwers I know quite well from the States that have came over and had the throw, and you speak to them, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm on TRT. I want to come and do it justice. Like, what should I do?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, can you stop it? Like, I don't understand these things." But like, they want to come and sort of stay within the rails, if that makes sense, and not sort of bump out them. So again, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or it's just you guys. I know health wise it has a lot of benefits, but it just seems so normal nowadays, and I don't know. It bothers me as someone that does a sport if that can sort of pigeonhole.
I think TRT's more popular now because like there's now a business made of it, so people who wouldn't normally get on it are now being pressured to get on it by the medical industrial complex, the pharmaceutical industrial complex. But I don't know. I don't think either that like being on TRT or even anything more than that can actually like make it won't make you a better thrower, I guess is what I'm saying, but it'll make you stronger.
I mean, I'll be honest, it's not something I'm going to sit here and tell you I know a lot about, but if someone told me they were doing that and they were flying about throwing all over the place, I kind of like should you be in Scotland? So it's sort of like a way I almost think of the games at times in America to here, and the open categories being different because as you've said, it's the Celtic's the only place you said you really know if that advertises We Test, whereas here there's probably 99% of the games if you go you could be chosen.
And that's just because you guys
you sort of know what you're
that's just
signing up
because you
for.
guys have a governing body that can lay down those rules, right? Because
I think it is also a costly process. So again, it's another thing that's hard to get. Like, imagine if you pulled everyone in from across America and said we're going to test. The cost to do it in a manner that it can legally be prosecuted and there's no holes that can be, this happened. It needs to be done by professionals. So we've got literally we had the Commonwealth Games that were in London and when they were in Glasgow, and it's the same guys that were testing there that are coming to test us. Like, they were like, we were just there a month ago or whatever, and you're like, right. So it's the real sort of McCoy, and to do that properly, it does have a big cost, which I imagine probably can deter as well.
I don't think Highland Games in America can afford it. It'll put an undue cost on many festivals, and I don't see it taking off here. That doesn't mean I don't think it should, but I honestly I don't concern myself with it too much, because how far someone else throws does not influence my worth as a person. So you got to tell yourself.
It's just I don't know. I've kind of been brought up that kind of clean sport. And, I mean, the big thing just now is it's what they sort of label it as here is you're not taking anything that could be seen as a chemical edge or anything along those lines. But that's the thing. 40 years ago, none of these things were considered that. It was just everyone did it. So it's, I don't know. And everyone says everyone's doing it. It's just those that get caught and those that don't. So again, I feel like we could sit here for an hour and talk about this. But yeah, it's definitely a divisive subject, and you tend to know where people stand one way or another very quickly.
And yeah, definitely. So aside from drug testing implements and types of games, how many athletes do you normally have on a field at any given time?
Ideally. So some of the bigger games, off the top of my head, games that have standards are Crieff and Braemar. They have in their book standards that you have to be able to throw or you shouldn't be there. I've only seen it enforced at Braemar a couple of times. I've never seen it happen at Crieff. But there's guys will turn up from, in previous years, some American places. My dream to throw at Braemar, and they'll ask them what they can throw. And if they go into the putt and they're not hitting say 40 foot, they'll just guys.
Damn!
So ideally, anyway, that's a deviant. Not even mid first event. I've seen Bill Anderson do that to a gentleman, an American guy.
It hurt so bad.
It was. I was I don't know what age it had been, 18 or 19, one of my first times doing the Open at Braemar, and this guy was awful throw, 30 foot maybe, and he just.
I can't.
I might actually be lying to you. I think he might have ended up doing the juniors with us to sort of see how good a thrower he was. So the under 25s again, and I think he threw 30 foot, and then Bill was like, "I can't throw later." Yeah, Bill was pretty ruthless in that regard. But then again, there's games I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Some of the smaller games you could go to where it's maybe Nairn Highland Games. They'd love someone that comes over from the States that's maybe knows what they're doing but is inexperienced. They'd welcome them. But anyway, to give you a short answer, I think 8 people's really good at a games for an open event. I think 10's fine. 12 you're starting to go, And what happens in Scotland is if there's too many throwers, they'll just drop us to 2 throws per event.
See, that's another thing. That's another thing you guys do that we'll never consider I don't know, kicking someone off the field because they're not throwing far enough. We'll question why they're in this group and not a different one. That happens.
I mean, I should say to you that's not a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, if someone was at a games they shouldn't be at, for example, one of the more sort of prestigious games or perhaps where there's an intense competition, I've seen guys turn up that shouldn't be there, and some of the old guard that don't throw anymore would have literally been like, "What are you doing here?" And it would be all of them. So these people would just leave. So it would sort of police itself, which doesn't really happen as much anymore. So it's kind of that awkward thing that maybe you guys have a better system for accommodating people, and is it too accommodating? Like, there's not a right answer. There's no correct thing to say here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that and like we're doing 2 attempts, or we're getting rid of like heavy stone today because we're running out of time, like things like that. We'll throw in the dark.
They very rarely get rid of events.
Yeah.
Wow. They very rarely get rid of events here that quite often we'll get dropped to 2 throws very regularly.
Yeah, we don't.
And it's hard to throw well like that.
We will throw a big old fit if anyone even thinks of like dropping 2 events. Sometimes it'll make perfect sense. Like, yeah, we're saving some time here because we got literally like 100 other people that need to like use this trig at some point. So like sometimes we'll speed it up, but we're not happy about it.
I mean, one of the examples I can think of is at Inveraray Games one year. There was I might not got the exact number right. There was like 25 guys doing the open, and I was sitting like, "What are we doing here?" Like, it'll be 2 throws from the start of the day, and you're thinking, "Oh, here we go." And like sometimes there's people who've never done it before. Like, that's not the day to try. Let them do the putt and then say sorry if you sort of come back next year. Like, again, not my place to say this, but I've been thrown for a long time. I can't travel all around Scotland, drive for 3 hours, and then watch someone throw a hammer at the crowd. Like, I've seen that happen. It's the sport in Scotland is one incident away from disappearing, especially some of the events like the hammer or the weight. And anyone can pick up a stone and do that, and it's quite hard to throw it too far and hurt someone. But when you're swinging a hammer and you don't know what you're doing, I've seen some awful things. And my filter or my patience for entertaining these things is long gone. If that hits someone and it's in an inconvenient manner and there's a casualty, I think that at least the hammer would disappear, if not the heavy event.
This is what I tell so many people this, that like every single games, every single festival is one accident away from never coming back. Like, so if you like it here and you like throwing here and you want to come back next year, be safe. Like, if that means like dial something back so you're not throwing it into the crowd, dial it back. Like, be safe if you ever want to come back here again, because it can easily go away. Like, we have insurance, but like, sometimes you just can't bounce back from things.
I mean, to think of an example for you, at Braemar this year, we were doing one of the hammers and the military tug of war was going on. And Braemar is such a small arena that they literally couldn't fit another event in. It's so busy, everything that's going on. And we were throwing the hammer, and it was sort of like the judges were like, "Hey, what can you throw the heavy hammer? Because you always do the heavy first," which, by the way, is unusual for us. We normally do light then heavy. And they were asking like, "How far can you throw it?" I was like, 110, I'd be happy today because it's not the sort of best hammer. And they strided it, and the guys were at 120 feet. And they're sort of then sitting saying, "Can we do the hammer just now?" And luckily, you've got experienced judges that know that we probably shouldn't, so we kind of waited for them to finish. Whereas if there's not someone like that and that hits someone with their back to you on a rope, what happens then? You know, and it's a scary thought.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about your training. What do you do in season? What are you doing right now for the off season?
So I've had a weird one this year, and I don't know what's going on, but I'm feeling the strongest I've ever felt at this point of the year. But I've done less throwing, and I started later, so my mind's like, 5-10 years of training this way. I'm like, what have I been doing right? What have I been doing wrong? I'm questioning a lot. But I've been throwing since November, and I'm very lucky. I have an indoor throwing arena near me. There's nets that are suspended from the ceiling. You've probably seen it, but I can throw into them. So I've mostly done shot put and just hammer swings, and I've started doing a bit of 28 in January, basically. But I throw into the net. So you don't know how far anything's going, which I think's a good thing. So my training right now is Monday, Wednesday, Friday I lift, and on a Tuesday and a Thursday I'll throw. So I like to call myself a sort of weekend warrior, that I try not to train on a weekend just now. Plus having a young family, it's I do enjoy spending time with my wife and my child when I can. So I am lucky. I've got a gym in my garage. I train there during my lunch breaks during the week, so it limits sort of how often I'm away. But throws wise, I am throwing indoors just now, and I'm basically in a strength block, trying to build a bit of strength, tying in plyometrics to that, and then upping my throwing just now is the sort of lay of the land. I give you more of a dissection than that if you want, or if that's good enough.
What kind of what style of lifting are you doing?
A lot of Olympic. I'd say an Olympic base with like a sprinkling of like compounds. So I don't value deadlifting that much for throwing, but I think it's a necessity for like a being okay at the events. I would value Olympic lifts and variations of them a lot more, and probably overhead stuff over a deadlift. So there, I do a bit of everything. I have a program that was written for me by a strongman called Chris Beetham. He's a good lad, does a lot of programming. So I guess technically that's a shout out to him. So I now recycle that and add my own sort of flavour to it. But the interesting thing is he wrote it to me during COVID when I wasn't throwing at all. So it was written from the point of view of you're just doing weight training to get stronger. It's not sort of taking into account that I'm also throwing twice a week, so I can have to dial things back and change it where I can. But just now I would say I'm probably decent form for a heavy deadlift. My legs are getting stronger, so I'm approaching that. And like I'm cleaning quite well. But the truth is I can't clean very well in my garage because once you get anything north of about 100 kilos up to here and you're dropping it, I don't want to suffer the wrath of my wife for the noise and potential damage that could have from dropping it on the floor in the garage. So I tend to leave that for when I'm down at the sort of throwing facility, and I try and do it just there as like part of my session. So yeah, I mean, I've got a simple belief that many people will probably say is wrong or shake your hand at. I don't think like deadlifting or squatting, it's not necessary to be incredibly strong for throwing for that. I think the best way to throw is to sort of throw or plyometrics or speed. Or I don't think I have, as a thrower package, I don't think I have like anything that I excel at. I think I'm just okay at everything, and that kind of works. No, I don't know if I'm just rambling now. Or
I think sense. You're right on pace there. I talked to Christine Rothwell last episode, and she was telling me about how I think as a discus thrower, how like he would only do like lightweights. He would never go like super heavy, and because like he's like, yeah, I'm strong enough to move this disc because it weighs nothing, and I just have to move it faster now. So focus on the faster now, and that's your plyometrics. That's like your cleans. It's all quick movement, which is what throwing is. You definitely want to be strong. Like no one's been like, oh, I'm too strong to throw this heavy weight very good. That's not a thing. But like you definitely can be too slow to throw the lightweight really well.
It's even the sort of like the muscle boundness, like the lack of mobility in joints. I think that's a huge thing sort of as well, especially with some of the throwing events. You kind of have to be able to be slightly maneuverable but also large, which probably kind of butt heads a little bit.
Yeah, and like you mentioned deadlift. I'm not a huge fan of the deadlift for throwing. I do program it in for like 16 weeks towards like my at the beginning of my off season, going towards like the beginning of the actual season, and I'll pretty much cut it out and do. Oh, go ahead.
It's funny. I'm probably accidentally, or not accidentally, but I'm probably almost the same. Probably maybe more 12 weeks for me, and then during the season I won't touch it. I'll do RDLs. But I won't touch deadlift as an entire entity. It'll be more variations of. So I'm probably similar minded to you in that regard.
And if I do deadlifts in season, because sometimes like my program just needs to get changed, and I need to put something challenging in there. Especially, and if you haven't done deadlifts for 8 weeks or 16 weeks or whatever, and you come back and do them, like it's kind of hard. Like you got to like figure out your groove again and stuff like that. So like that's a nice thing to do, like switch up my training like mid season.
I mean, touching on what you said, there's two exercises that I think if you do a bar or if you do with a lot of weight are awful. It's deadlifts.
Oh, that's what it is.
Like the movement is just sapping. And
if I'm doing a heavy deadlift, which is they're generally slow, right? Like meters per second, a deadlift is pretty slow. I will always do like speed work like after that. Like in season, I'm going to add in speed work because like I want to finish off like knowing like I can still snap that thing up if I want to. It's not just such a drag every time because like I mean it's that like for me like that's WOB, right? It's weight over bar is the deadlift. I mean it's a deadlift with a clean, but like you can use a big deadlift to get a good WOB. You know what I mean? So like I never neglect it.
Yeah, I mean I should sit here and say that I'm not a big guy with WOB. Like a good WOB day for me is probably 16 feet. Like that's a good day for me just now. So I'm not the man to listen to in terms of what your weight training should be.
You guys throw the hard the hard standards. You guys have knockoff bars, so I think a 16 with a knockoff.
Yeah, that can definitely be.
Yeah. I mean, 16 with a knockoff bars, that's pretty good.
Have its challenging moments. My best 16.9, but that was at a Boyne, and it's like we call it a Planic weight.
Oh, yeah.
You guys use them at a few places, right? So it's a Planic. It's the most beautiful weight, and I literally I went over the bar, and the bar got touched, and it went over, and I was like, "What the hell?" My best beyond that 16.6 twice. And it's almost always a Boyne. The weight just works well for me. So if you said to me, what's your genuine PB? It's probably not 16.9, it's probably 16.6. But yeah, it's not been that for a while.
Yeah. Well, I don't know of any games in the States that are using knockoff bars. I know in Costa Mesa, I was there this year in California, and we didn't use a knockoff bar, but it had the capability to do like a knockoff bar, and it's not a stick where it'll break. It's still a pipe that's attached to a string, but it will fall off, and you can just easily put it back up. We didn't use that feature of it, but I can't imagine like all my wob PRs. They're landing on top of the bar and bending that fucker down and then tipping over. That's just like,
oh wow. I mean, you. If you flirt with the bar here, it's coming off. You can't even there's times that you hit it, and I think I got 115.6 this year where the bar went off and landed on it, and those moments you just pause and you're like, walk away. So those are very few and far between, but most of the time you touch the bar here, it's coming off. So it's more of an accuracy thing rather than just sort of rip it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could probably do if there's certain fixed bars.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say anyone should listen to me on how to train for weight over bar, because I don't do it well. Yeah, I don't do it well at all. I blame my height more than anything. Probably 6 foot these days. I'm not even 6'1" anymore. I'm pretty sure I'm just 6 foot. That's a big ask to go 17 feet or 16 feet even at this height.
It's crazy. The weight for height standards insane just now. Like you guys have got multiple guys over 17 feet,
I think
right?
looking at Pleasanton this year, half the field was in going for 17, and I was like, that's like if you go back crazy. 15 years at Pleasanton as well, there were 2 guys hitting 16, and that was it. It was Vieira and someone else. Yeah. But and we've changed. But to be fair, they were way better hammer throwers back then than we are now. There wasn't a guy under at this time, like 2005, maybe 2009. There wasn't anyone at Pleasanton going under 125 in the light hammer. But a 15-foot wob was pretty killer at the time.
Right. So what would you say the hammer, is 125 a pretty good throw stateside just now for the sort of
I think these days if you're hitting 125 in the light hammer, you're doing okay. I don't like that. I think that's too low. I think we all need to throw further hammers. I want more people throwing 135s, 140s. I just don't think we don't have enough of them. That's just because I like hammers and I want to see them go far.
Because it's the greatest event of them all, right?
I don't know if you know about this. There's a secret special event that you throw with a pitchfork. Yeah,
it's funny. There's less than 10 games of it in Scotland, probably closer to 5. And it's funny. I always remember years ago. Who was it? I think it was Matt Hand. Had commented on one of the sheafs that I put up a picture. He's like, what the fuck is that? I was like, that's a traditional sheaf. Yeah. This is what it would have been. But it was literally 5 foot long twine.
Yeah.
Hay, looked like something that you could use to start a walls construction rather than throw it over a bar. But ironically, Ken Moore Highland Games, the one I mentioned, that has a sheaf.
It's the coolest event. It's no big deal.
It's kind of wild to throw it.
Yeah, it is very much real. It's so real that on my shirt here where it says 9, that's and Ket's counting the sheaf as well. So that's how important it is.
Sheaf to the Highland Games world is what javelin is to the throws world. I'll leave it at that.
I I can't argue that, but like, I'm just gonna say you're wrong.
Okay, we'll nodding, get on.
What do you?
I couldn't even tell you my PB in chief. Couldn't even tell you.
That's it. You should figure that out because like it is an important number to know.
I think it's 29 feet. I don't know if that's
with a real.
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know the weight of the
like,
sheep.
what's the weight?
Because
29's that's not bad if it's a 20-pound bag. But
the funny thing is, a lot of the time it won't even be in the results in Scotland. It's not part of the sort of points that go into our overall league. So you don't. I don't know if I could even check it. I'll just need to pay attention this year.
Where do you guys? Do you guys have like a database that like tracks where you like your rankings and stuff, or are you guys just trying to hop on Heavy Athlete?
I don't know if I. We do get yearbooks. I did have one
yearbooks.
Here. I know. I've just got my Sun Tzu Art
That's
of War.
A tiny copy of that.
No, we get. Someone gifted me it. It's a real pain to read. But no, we get yearbooks that are printed every year with all of the winning throws, the furthest throws of the year, who won what championship. So they're literal paper copies. There's not a database per se, but you can go online and look at results. I think there is a database that started last year, originally for the running and track and field events, and I think it started incorporating us. But again, I think it's just the furthest throw. I don't think it's always the full array of like who threw what. So I think it started. It's not really. I mean, does Heavy Athlete have Scottish results?
You can. If you guys wanted to, like, get the papers with all the scores on there, you guys can upload them and be counted in.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of hassle.
I mean, it can be. You type fast, so you'll probably be just fine. But yeah.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
This is your 10th event right here. It's built for it. It's uploading scores. But yeah, you can. And I'm glad they when they set it up that way that like if you guys wanted to like make it part of the thing that each games does is like they upload to Heavy Athlete. There's an ability to do that. I think you can even do that on NASGA as well, but it would have been more weird.
All right,
because it's a weird website.
All right, well,
but you don't have.
Yeah, there's a lot of these websites floating about just now.
Hopefully, we're sticking with one. We'll see. I liked NASGA, but it had problems, and so they did the new one. Which is Heavy Athlete.
Was there not a third one? Or
so there's actually no. So there's been a bunch. The only few that actually like worked were NASGA, Heavy Athlete, and ScottishScores.org, I think. And that one wasn't really good for like databasing. That was actually just really good for having a program to score competitions. You could print off pages and have every athlete's name printed on there, and it has all the boxes. That's nice.
Okay.
But as far as databasing goes, like it wasn't super good. There was a couple people who've tried it in the past. Like I've gotten handed business cards on 2 different occasions for 2 different new NASGAs, and I've never heard anything from them since. And I got business cards from them. Hayden Ballio, he was a really good thrower out here, and he kind of went away as they do. But he was going to make a new.
I think I threw with him in.
You probably
States did in 2020.
You probably did. He was a hell of a thrower. Great stone thrower, powerful heavyweight thrower. But yeah, he was like he's some kind of computer programmer or some job with computers. So like it was kind of in his wheelhouse to build this website, and it never took off. It went into like a beta phase and never came out. But now we have Heavy Athlete, and it mostly works from what I'm told. So, but yeah, I was just wondering that because like I've looked before on the Royal Scottish Highland Games Association. Is that like the main one?
I can quickly. There's definitely there is definitely. Oh no, I need to stay in this page apparently. There is definitely one. I just can't remember the exact name of it. I feel conscientious typing now.
Someone's got a mechanical keyboard.
I think it might be called. I think it's called live results. It's really generic, but there is something in place that's been getting used. I don't think it's like officially sort of affiliated with RSHJ or anything like that, but there is something in place that's been sort of getting used over the years. The last year to 18 months, I would say it's been in use.
So what I've found before is on the RSHGA's website, it's like deep in the website. You got to like click links to link you to other links, and you'll get a list of all the qualified games in the league, right? And some of them are they're just like scanned and they're handwritten with all the scores, and sometimes it's like on a form that's like printed. Sometimes they'll only have the running on there that is scored. Sometimes they'll have like the pipe bands scored and no like athletics.
So what you're saying is you're completely repeating what I said at the start about everyone thinking of the most important, and whoever sent in the results is the priority. Yeah.
And more often than not, like the heavy events are on there, and like you can get a good idea. You can't see it's only like bottom. Top 3 though. So like if you didn't place top 3 in an event, who gives a shit? That's what I'm gathering.
That's kind of
which like is cool, but like
you're not wrong,
because isn't that like how you guys pay out? Is it top 3? I've heard top 8 as well for like a lot of games.
It's completely different. There's probably a few games out there it's top 3, some are top 5, some are top 8. But what tends to happen is if there's 5 prizes and there's 9 guys, they probably won't report anyone out the prizes from distance. I've seen that happen quite a lot. So it really depends on a sort of games by games, case by case sort of ratio. I guess.
And sometimes you guys put like the prize money on that paper as well, and I thought that's all just very interesting because like
I didn't.
Sometimes it's not all the time. It's like 20 pounds for open stone, 20 pounds for heavyweight or something like that, and it's like, oh, that's cool. But so if anyone listening like is curious to like see how you stack up against the Scots, you can find it. You gotta go digging for it.
You gotta get your glasses on.
And I'm so bad with computers, but it's one of those things. It's like they'll have a tab, like a little drop down menu that has the words results on it or something like that. You click it and it takes you to like an error.
Yep.
It'll take you to an error screen. So you have to like.
I really wish I had a yearbook to show you this. But I've definitely got one somewhere, but where it is, I don't know. But yeah, they're literally like, they're not even A4. I don't know what size that would be, and it's literally all the results. Who won? It'll be who won each event at each of the games. Who won the overall? Who won like Scottish Championship, British Championship, World Championship? The championships for each event, they'll all be in the book, and it'll be the running events. It'll be the track events. It'll be hill races. There'll be heavy events.
And
it's everything.
They mail that out to you?
Normally, it gets handed to you at games, and I think it's like £4 or whatever you buy it, and they do one every year. So it's pretty cool. Like I know Sinclair. He has several from like when his dad threw, so you can kind of like sit with him out and look at who won what. It's pretty cool.
Do you know we used to have in the States, this is long before I started throwing, and I think it was even before NASGA, they used to have a thing called like the 56 pound news, and it would be at the end of the year, and it would be your NASGA ranking essentially, and it'll tell you like what the furthest throws were you ranked, like are you ranked like number 28 or whatever, and like you get it mailed to you. And I was like, that's pretty sick. 'Cause like that's how you knew like were you ranked for the year is like in August or whatever, you get a thing in the mail. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think that's one of those things that's been lost with the information age, getting a physical something saying good job, you're this. You don't get that anymore.
It would be cool. And like, I mean, our local like throwing group would have like end of the year banquets and stuff like that, like dinners and the hand out awards, like most improved and stuff. And I think we should do a little bit more of that. That shit seems pretty fun. But
that's a very rugby thing to me. Like that's the type of thing a lot of rugby clubs do. But see in Scotland, this is such an individual sport, so I don't think you'd be able to pull enough people that sort of are close knit enough together to do that. I think you'd really struggle.
Yeah, I feel you. What do you do like in season for training? Because like you'll have like a games on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and then a Saturday. How do you fit training into that?
I mean, there's sort of 2 games weeks where in 7 days, or I think one of them it's 9 days you can do like 6 games, and the other one's like a sort of second games week. It's like 5 games in 9 days. It's a weird setup, but you can do a lot of games. So I literally will not. Our season runs from, it varies year to year, but roughly middle of May to middle of September. So it's a decent stretch. And during that time, I tend to not go out and throw because I'm a human and things go wrong and my joints can only handle so much. I couldn't go out and rip throws, and I physically couldn't do that. So I tend to only go out and actually do a training session if something's not going well at the weekend. And I almost, like, it's one of those things I don't know how to fully. I've never done a season in the States, but how many games would you do in a year if you went flat out?
Like if I did all the games that I wanted to do?
Like you were like, sorry, I don't know your sort of life circumstances, but your wife and kids, you were like, sorry guys, going to the games. Like, how many could you do if you were hammering
in the States? I could probably get away with 15.
So we'll do. I've done 40 when I'm going pretty flat out, and that's again May to September, so it's pretty busy. Like, you can hammer that, and I think you can't approach that the same way as if you were doing like maybe 10. It's a totally different thing, and I don't think you can throw at a high performance for 40 games versus 10. So I feel like you can compare, sure, but like you guys probably do it better because you've got more rest time and you can prepare better, whereas we're out lugging it every weekend. So in many ways, I kind of envy you guys.
Yeah, I honestly, I would love to throw 40 games a year because like it's not 9 events each time, and you don't have to drive far. That's like the biggest thing.
You mean 8 events, right?
Like, I mean, you could. There is the option to throw 9. That it does exist. But like, I think drive time is such a huge problem for us. Like, just travel time in general, because I don't know. There's not a single games within 12 hours of me. Like, games that I can throw at. Yeah, 12 hours driving. Yeah, I live right in the middle of it all.
My longest drive I will do is up to gun territory. It's probably the Halkirk weekend, which, depending on traffic and weather, is probably 5 to 6 hours all in, and that's the longest drive I'll do. I'd say I probably average like 2.5, 3 hours most of the time. But I'm fairly far south. I think if you're more central, you could probably benefit a lot more. Yeah,
so I mean, for like us,
so 12 hours blows my mind.
We only throw on weekends too, like, which makes sense for us. I would like to throw on a Tuesday sometime. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
a Tuesday and not have to drive 10 hours to go do it. I would like that.
I can't imagine sitting in a car for 10 hours driving to go throw in a field with a bunch of guys that get out of breath standing up. That's I'd stick to my 3-hour drive for that.
You get used to it. you build up a stamina.
That they're getting out of breath standing up, or they're driving.
Yeah. What's really bad is it's like driving the car. It's you get tight, you get stiff from just sitting, especially if you drive like I do, where like you fill up the tank and then you fill it up some more, and then you fill it up to like you pull it out and you're just spraying, gas into the hole just to fill it all the way up so you don't have to stop again. And I'll drive, 520 miles without stopping, which is not good for you. That's how you get like blood clots and stuff like that. The worst part is just getting tight. I found this year, I threw 2 games in Colorado, which is like up in the mountains, right? It's, I think, I'm throwing in South Park. So I'm throwing in Estes Park, and I think that was like maybe 9,000 feet, which is like not the highest. And the other one was like 6,000. I couldn't.
Is Estes the one where people like throw bombs?
Yeah, bombs are potentially happen there.
It's like, is it like altitude? Is it like just a surreal place to throw.
I think the lightweight is really good. That's what makes it go far. And the hammers are good. The hammers are fine. There's nothing like super special about them, but they are like, they do work. But I do think it
must be one of the highest games,
I think
right?
it is.
There'll be nothing here as high as that. There's no way. Even like Braemar's maybe 1,500 feet.
But so what I found is like getting out of the car from a 10-hour drive to Colorado and then finding out I can't breathe anymore because the altitude, that sucks. That was like, Estes was Estes. Both the Colorado games were one of my worst games this year. I just could not hold it together. I couldn't breathe. Everything was a struggle. I'm a flatlander. I live at like below sea level, kind of.
A story in a similar light is I was in Kyrgyzstan throwing in 2018, and we were at, I think, 5,500 meters, which is 4,000 meters. I can't remember the exact. There was numbers getting thrown about, and people were asking feet. But anyway, it was a good height. We were literally in the mountains in Kyrgyzstan, and I carried a caber maybe a mile because we had to carry it around the back to the arena. And I got there and I thought I was going to die. Like, I've never sweat so much in my life. I couldn't catch my breath. So I imagine it was probably similar to what you were just sort of hinting at.
Yeah, it was tough. I'll go back and I'll do it again. And I just imagine next year it's going to be even better. I'm going to get slowly, like over the years, get acclimated to the altitude, and I'll probably throw bombs. But it's going to be a couple of years. But yeah,
or you will bomb.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, I've been having some trouble with like my open stone and like fouling out the left because like I've been doing the MSA and I want to sweep my leg like I'm doing like a rotational shot put throw. So I just keep sweeping my leg super far and fouling and that's like starting off like the first two events, like, and you're just eating dick doing that. Then we had heavyweight next, and I've made the mistake of throwing heavyweight in practice with a strap like a little too much. Like I'll bust out the strap and like just ease up my thumb a little bit, and but I think I did it a little too much to where like I was relying on it. So anytime I wanted to go fast on the heavyweight, I just couldn't hold on to it, and then I dive down and like just to try to save it, I dive down to the left, and then I'm like finishing both feet out. So that's not good.
You guys throw with gloves as well, right?
Some do. I don't. I used to throw with a glove, but I feel like I just can't throw as far.
I always think with the weights, would you not get more grip with like the sort of flesh and like maybe taping it as opposed to a glove, or am I talking absolute nonsense?
I don't know. It depends on like.
Just say
it all depends because like I've used a glove with like all the fingers and like everything like that, and I would tape it, at the bottom so it doesn't slip off. But then like I started like taping my thumb, so when I'm hooking, like I have like leather and then tape and then chalk, and like I'm locked in. And then one day that just felt like too much, so I cut the thumb off of the glove, and then I would just tape the thumb. And then I'm like, why do I need the glove anymore if like just pretty much the whole thumb is out? So like I took the glove off, started throwing further, and I was like, okay, so gloves are worthless. You just got to learn to hold it correctly.
Yeah, because I don't know if that's well known as well, but like gloves are banned in Scotland. You can't wear them. You can tape your fingers, but it has to be individually. So sometimes guys get a shock if they come over, and that's the
that, but you never read the rule book.
Yeah. Well, of course I do. When there's some guy coming over saying he's going to throw 90 feet in the weight, I'm like, oh, you can't use a glove.
We can use gloves. Like we just can't have anything that holds the weight to you. Does that make sense? Like a mechanical hold. Yeah, a strap.
Like a strap button.
There's gray areas. Like I've heard of guys like they tape their thumb and then like they pull some tape out and they will wrap that around the bar as they hold on to it. And so like it's doing strap like things. And I tried it in practice. Like let's see if this actually works. I don't think it does, but they tried. Like there's so many people that have like there's some people that have like a little thing that they do that they think is going to give them like just that little bit of an edge, and like it may or may not, but definitely can't have anything that like holds the implement to you.
Yeah, I get you. It's pretty much my understanding is I think someone was thrown with a glove on and there was a strap built in it, and they threw with it and then sort of tucked it away.
Oh.
And again, I think it was the guy that was coaching me that got someone to do it years ago, and that's why they banned it. So the guy Willie that introduced me, because he used to ask me to train with it, and I was like, oh, I'd rather just train with what I'm going to be using in actual sort of competition. But yeah, I get the benefit if you're just doing reps, but I wouldn't want to actually ever throw with it. Same with like the sheer thought of throwing a hammer with gloves on to me is anxiety inducing. Like I can't imagine it. Like it's still tacked up from your last games, and they're fixed like that, and you can hear the guys like with their carpet spray or whatever, and I'm just like, nah, give me it raw,
Yeah, I've thrown. Most guys in the States when they start, like they're not putting tacky directly on their hands. They're going to put gloves on because it's new. So like you're like the lowest like entry to bear, like no lower bear. Can't talk. The lowest barrier to entry is like, put the gloves on. You don't have to deal with it on your fingers. You take the gloves off and you can throw them away or whatever you want, but it's not sticky on your hands. So I started out that way. Quickly learned I don't want to throw hammers with gloves on. I cannot stand the feeling of it. I want to hold it.
To me is like,
yeah.
Talk about hammer.
I want to hold it.
Okay.
But I think it goes further. But that being said, you threw a 150 hammer the same day that Damian Fisher threw a 150 light hammer.
Yeah, it was so funny. We messaged each other saying that.
I was like, "This is what I'm talking." I tell everyone. Some days you have low gravity days, and some days you have high gravity days. And it seemed like you and Damien both got a low gravity day at the same time. And
we literally messaged each other.
You got a low gravity day and you guys used it on the same time. It's amazing.
Do you want to know the funniest thing about that? The first time I threw 150 is that I had thrown 149.10 and 149.11 three times.
No
I'd never
kidding.
quite got 150. Yeah, so to finally go past it, I was like, "Oh, thank God!"
And like, I think it's an interesting like example of two different hammer throwers because Damien wears these big ass white gloves and he throws just fine in them. I don't know how he does that.
Damien is lovely to watch throw everything. That's one of the things I messaged him when he said he was sort of retiring or loosely retiring. I was like, "You're one of the smoothest like technicians I've ever thrown. Everything just looks. You can tell he sat and just thought about events and sort of worked them out, which I think a lot of people now model themselves after someone and sort of run with it. Whereas I think, he's a throws coach, isn't he? So, but yeah, I think he's found his own groove and kind of worked with it.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a throws coach until I threw with him in Estes, and after every throw, he went right back to his camera, and like he has his camera, and this is a true professional right here. Like he has his camera up high at eye level, and he's like 7 foot tall or whatever. So he's got this giant ass tripod, and like he'll get up there and like just watch the throw again and again right after he does it. And I was like, oh, he's a fucking throws coach. That's a pro move right there.
It's also funny. Like I went to Fergus and I was throwing with him, and I had like no videos of myself throwing. And I was like, oh, I've got them. And I was kind of like, oh. But I was also like, oh, thank you. So he sent me like videos of me doing the hammers there, which I was thankful for because I don't really film myself, or it tends to be someone else has a video if I have anything.
Well, what I do, I just set my phone. I make sure my phone has enough storage first because I've been to too many games where like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna record this, and like I can't even open the camera. They're like, you're too full. Don't even think about it. So I make sure I have room. And I just click play at the start of the event and then just don't turn it off until I move somewhere else. And so then I get everything.
I don't need that many 75-foot weight throws of myself in the bank. I know what that looks like enough, unfortunately, and I don't want to see my 45-foot putt that I bobbed out to the side. I don't need to see that.
That does hurt sometimes. I use it for because like when I started, there was not much video. There wasn't many videos on YouTube of like Highland games and all the throws and get a good idea of what technique looks like. We had Matt Vincent, and that was it. That was pretty much like the only guy doing like YouTube out there, and so I was like, well, I can put full games up there. Like of each event, like this is Costa Mesa heavyweight for distance. I can just plug this 5-minute video up on YouTube, and then it's there.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to watch Kyle Lilly throw heavyweight, like I've got a video of it that you can watch and watch and watch, and it could help.
Yeah.
But that's why I do it. I think it hopefully rears the new generation coming in. We'll see.
Well, that's the other thing. Like the new generation kind of starts showing its face, and then there's like, I don't think of myself as one of the young guys throwing anymore. I think that stopped just before COVID, and now it's like, you know, you're not looking sort of up at people, you're more looking back thinking, oh, who's coming through, sort of thing, which is an interesting sort of switch in dynamic. Because I think COVID, like 2020, we had like no games here. There was like 2 games that were virtual, and then 2021 was still pretty light. It wasn't like a full season, and I think there was a real changing of the guard, and there's not really been the young, like, I mean, there's a couple of kids, I say kids, like, I'm talking about the male aspect, from like 20 to maybe 16, there's quite a handful of good throwers here that their dads used to throw, or there's an affinity with the game. So I think in 5 years we'll be fine, but it's just, again, keeping them in the sport and helping them find their feet.
You ever do any stone lifting?
Once. It's something
I was
I'm
going
not
to say
a fan
once.
of.
You're in it, man. You're in the place.
It's also funny. I'm in the. Is it Stoneland? I was in that, and I was asked that there was this interview about stone lifting, and I understand what it is, but like I like throwing, and I've found out the hard way that anytime I try and do something that's too different, you normally get hurt, or it impacts at least training. So last year at the end of the season, I lifted the stone that's at Braemar. The oh my god, my mind's went blank.
Yeah, I think I know it. Wait, yeah, it's Inverstone. Right? Yeah.
Oh my god, I, there's 2 stones there. There's the Big Mac Daddy one that a bunch of strongmen went. They were trying to press it, and I don't think anyone managed it. And then there's a smaller one that's outside. I'm pretty sure it's the Inverstone.
I'm almost positive.
I might be getting it mixed up now. Anyway, that's the only manhood stone I've ever lifted, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I got it up to my chest, and I wanted to shoulder it, but I kind of hesitated. And I was like, "Oh, what do you do when you shoulder it?" Because I have no idea. So I got to here, and I was like, I didn't realize you sort of put it up in one movement. So anyway, it went back down, and I might try next year at the end of the season. We'll see.
That's cool. I like stone lifting. I'm bad at it. I'm very, very bad at it. I've almost passed out a number of times trying to get a stone to my shoulder. I'm just squeezing it into my chest, not breathing, like watching the light like tunnel in, and I'm like, oh god. So I'll drop it, and I'll wait like, a whole minute and a half, and then I'll pick it up again and try it again. Yeah, but
something will change this time.
I figured it out. Like, we got that weirdness out of the way. This one's going to be good, and it's never good. But I like to dabble in it. I just figured. Yeah,
I mean, it's something. There's a few Highland games have a stone lift or a stone carry as like an additional event, and most of the time it's not included in the overall championship, but sometimes you kind of have to do it. So I find myself sometimes taking part, but it's normally a little bit against my will.
Yeah. We've got a bit of that. You get your judge or the athletic director come up to you and be like, "Oh, we need you guys to do the tug of war," and we're like, "I've never done that," and they're like, "You'll be all right. It's against firefighters. You'll be fine." I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The tug of war here is like there'll be teams of like 5, 6, and they'll be on the rope for 9 minutes and end 3 times, and you sit and watch this and you're like, "Fuck that!" I can't even know. Nope. Right,
it's nuts.
Like they're lying on. Like I don't mean they're standing. I mean they'll be like that.
Boots
the
like
ropes
kicked
there,
in,
and they're just chilling. Like it's insane. I'm like, nah. I'll stick to chucking sticks and stones.
I can't imagine like having to hold anything after doing that. Like your grip is just shot. Yeah.
Even when you do it for fun, and we're asked to do it as the heavies, like you stand up after it and. 45 degrees feels pretty comfortable. You're like, whoa. So I can't imagine how those lads feel.
So another thing that's different that you guys do is you guys do a heavy stone put. It's not just a stand Braemar throw.
No, there's maybe a handful of games, maybe 10 games if you round up, that do a standing heavy putt. And it's one thing I think you guys do right. I think a lot of time doing a light shot put and then a heavy one like together, it doesn't really look great for the crowd, so to speak. So sometimes I like that you guys do an open stone and then a standing throw, so they at least represent it differently. Also, I have a better standing putt than I do a glide, so it benefits me. But it at least looks different. Whereas the other thing is, in Scotland, I'd say 40-50% of the games are shot putts. And throwing heavy 22-pound shot putts is not something I enjoy. I much prefer a heavy stone. You miss hit a 22-pound putt and your fingers, your wrist, your elbow, whatever. You know about it.
Oh yeah. What do you prefer? Just in general, stones or shot? Yeah.
Stones every day of the week. My best my best putts with again, this is with a glide. With stones is, I think I'm 55-11 with a light, and then I'm 47-9 with a heavy, and then if you switch it to putts, I'm like 54-6, I think, with a no, that's a lie, sorry, I'm 53-6 with a ball, and then with the heavy ball, I think I'm 46 something. So I'm much more a stone guy. Just it's more consistent for me. I don't know. I've always wondered if I hold the putt funny or something, but it's way more open and all over the place. Whereas if I dial in and it's a stone, it just feels easier to really kind of hit it. So it's one thing I envy you guys is you're most are all stones, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And I wish we weren't. I wish we were throwing all shots, because that's what I practice with, and like that's what I like. I like holding the round ball. And I think part of that too is like I didn't grow up in track and field like a lot of the other guys did. So like getting used to the ball, like and it's like it's still pretty new for me, and like getting comfortable like doing big stone throws. Like I don't know, I prefer the shot for it.
Like I love a Braemar putt. I really enjoy it as an event. I think it's a nice measure of just raw. Put it out there. So I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I for practice, like for like my stand throws, I use a 20-pound shot. I don't use a 22 for no particular reason, except for that's just what I have. That's what I was given. So
do you train light and heavy sort of implements?
Yeah, I do both. Like right now, since it's like off season and it's really cold. I say really cold. We're having a pretty mild winter, and I'm not taking advantage of it, and that's my fault. But when I do go throw, it's usually just a stone and a weight, and that's pretty much it until probably February, middle of February. Then I'll start adding hammers back in on the warm days.
So you don't even just swing the hammer, no?
I know how to do it. You know, like it's. If it's actually like a non-windy, like pretty nice day, like in January, I'll go out and throw hammer, just because you can't pass it up. Why not? But I feel like I know how to wind a hammer, and it's like just swinging it around isn't going to help me, because like I'm gonna put blades on and I'm gonna put tacky on, so might as well just like release it, you know. Because like I've never felt, to be fair, I am not a 150-foot hammer thrower, so I could be wrong on this, but I don't know. I just feel like I can't do the same thing unless I'm actually doing the throw. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the third swing's different.
Yeah, like if I'm not leaning, like relying on my boots and relying on my tacky, like I'm not going to lean back. I'm not going to stretch like I want to. And so at that point, might as well just put all the shit on and actually go throw it.
Okay,
and it's a burden. It's just a burden to go out there and walk, over 100 feet to go get your, like, and walk back. Like when it's like, 20 degrees outside, like that sucks.
It's another way I'm lucky. I've got those nets, and Willie, the guy that introduced me to the sport, built like a plinth that you put your feet in. So it simulates hammer blades without having to put them on. You just go in, put your feet in these straps, put some weights on the board, and you can swing it. So I can throw indoors, which again is a huge blessing.
If I had a good like indoor facility that I can like release into a net, or like without even having the the thing to hold your feet, like just go in tennis shoes or whatever. I'd be willing to do that if I just had indoors, like warmth, because like the tacky doesn't do shit if it's cold outside. Like you're gonna be fighting it more than it's helping you. Sometimes you can get away with it, but indoors is where it's at. I would probably get a lot. I know I'd get a lot better practice if I just had a place where I'm not freezing constantly.
Yeah. So I mean, what's a cold winter for you? You'll be, I imagine, pretty cold where you are, right?
I mean, right now
you'll be Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
won't you?
I don't know what it is in the other one, the scientific one, but like right now, like we're getting like 30 degrees like Fahrenheit at night. In the daytime, we're topping out at like 50. That's like right now. Yeah, pull it up.
So 30's -1. So we're in a real bad spell just now. It's been like -8 and whatnot, which, I mean, I could give you the exact number, I guess, here. So that's 46 degrees. No, wait, sorry, that's not right. 17 degrees has been like our lows in the last sort of week or two, but it's been bad. But it's not normally terrible where I am. The further north you go, the worse it sort of gets. But yeah, thrown outside that is just miserable.
We have pretty mild winters compared to people up like north, like Minnesota and Michigan and stuff like that. They get it bad. Yeah. But in a couple of weeks, like that's when it's really going to get worse. Where like we're down like with like a high of like 10 degrees kind of thing. For 3 weeks, it's going to be like that. Then it'll start to pick back up. We just haven't hit the bad stuff yet. Not yet. We'll see. But yeah, I'm out there, man. I'm out there throwing, heavy and light as much as I can, because like hammers are one of the events that I feel like I can take some time off of. I don't have to constantly push hammers, but stones and weights, I feel like I can't take my foot off the gas. Because like, I hate even bringing this up, but last year I had a heavyweight PR, which is nice. It still got me last place for the day with a heavyweight PR. It wasn't even like, It wasn't even third. It was only 4 of us throwing, and my heavyweight PR didn't beat that.
All right.
And I was like, that sucks. Like
that depends. That depends who's there. You know what I mean? Ironically, my best ever putt with a spin is 54.7, I think. And the day I did it, I finished 6th in the light putt at Ballater Highland Games. I always think of that and it blows my mind. So yeah, I was literally last place in the prize money.
It sucks when like your PR, because it was like 37 feet and some change, right? And everyone else was like 37, 38. Like they weren't beating me bad. Like they were just ahead of me. And I'm like, fuck, I couldn't do any better. That's the best as I could do. Yeah. It still wasn't enough. And so because of that, I'm looking at like my off season, like obviously want stones better, because who doesn't want, 55-foot stones? But the weights, like I don't feel like I can back off of. I got to keep pushing them until I know I can't fuck it up again.
I get what you're talking about there. I just I will throw everything or some version of everything just now because I'm indoors. So I'm mostly just swinging a hammer just now, just reps. I also had like a season-ending injury in my sort of hips, obliques, core, pelvis area. Everything just went. So I mentally need to just reps with swinging a hammer for literal confidence.
But that's not like your first like abdominal injury, right? You popped an injury like a year or so ago, right?
No, that's my only real abdominal one. It's kind of never felt right since. But like most of my injuries recently have been shoulder, elbow, something along those lines. And I've just pinned it. What happened last year is I made a load of cabers for like, it was going to be for kids. I was trying to do a kids Highland Games in my area. So I scraped all the bark off using like a really sharp shovel. And I'd used a hand axe to chop these trees down. So I didn't use a chainsaw because I'm stupid. And then I left them all outside on like a scaffolding, like pretty close to my house, didn't think anything of it. And I walked by the other day to like check they were still there because it's quite hidden. None left. So I did all that for nothing, which is a really great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm working on this theory, and it could be flawed, but I think in order to throw like good hammers and be consistently like killer hammer thrower, you've got to develop some kind of like injury where like you really have to think about how you throw things. And usually it's like an abdominal or oblique kind of like tear or something like that. Cause like you've had something.
I mean, the year I tore this, I was doing the most stupid stuff with a hammer. I had an indoor one, and I'd put like a 10 kilo hammer on like 22 pound, and I'd put like two, I don't know, the 25 kilogram weight discs on it. So that's like, I don't know what that is in pounds. I can't tell you off the top of my head. Maybe 50 kilos. So I had 60 kilos on it, and I'd swing it for sets of 5. And I was like,
you deserved that. That's crazy.
What am I doing?
Jesus.
Yeah, I really did. I'd sit and do like 3 sets of 5, and that'd be the sort of start of my session. Then I'd go to lighter stuff, and I'm like, what was I doing? No wonder I tore everything.
There's just been a lot of like really good hammer throwers that I've seen like have picked up an injury, and now they're even better hammer throwers. So I'm waiting. One day I hope I can tear my oblique like everyone else and come back 100-foot hammer thrower, 150-foot hammer thrower.
It definitely makes you think about stuff because you just feel nervous. I still get nervous first games out every year, like, oh, here we go, how's it going to be? Which is insane because I've probably done thousands of throws now since I sort of tore it.
See, I'm more worried about like first games of the season, like, am I going to make a fool of myself? Do I still know how to do this? Do I remember the order that we go in? Like, how does this even work? That's my first game of the season jitters. Like, I would prefer to be worried about getting injured, but I'm just worried about general anxiety.
I mean, it's funny what you're saying. I know this is also a difference between the games here with you guys. Is our standard order, if you want to call it that, is putts, shots, whatever you want to call them, they're first, weights, hammers, and then it kind of varies, but it's mostly caber and then weight over the bar last. That's our standard order, but there's always deviations here and there.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And it's always, most of the time, light, heavy.
Yeah. Ours is pretty much the same thing, except we're heavy, light, and we add sheaf at the end. So it's I do like stones, weights, hammers, caber, sheaf, wob, generally ending on wob.
Right.
But
yeah, I've always wondered, like, what would it be like if you did wob at the start when you're fresh? Would it be better? Would it be worse?
It's worse.
I don't know.
It's worse. Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's way worse.
Okay, cool. Oh,
I don't know. Maybe. Well, mostly because me, like,
it's not something I've
like
actually
for me,
done.
the 56 like is heavy. Like compared to my body weight, like I don't weigh a lot right now. I'm weighing 225, and I think most of last season I was weighing like 230. And so like. Throwing the wob it's heavy.
So you used to do lightweights,
I did
right?
lightweights for a little bit.
Again, it's such a juxtaposition. I always laugh that it's called the lightweight heavy events. Like that's its actual definitive name. And I don't know, it makes me laugh every time I think
it's
about
like jumbo shrimp. It's like that. Yeah, I did.
But then again, there's been some impressive athletes have done the lightweight stuff that are throwing way further than you would expect someone of that size.
I mean,
weight.
so I started, doing the ABC thing. I got up to like 250 pounds, super fat, not like as strong as I could have been. And, I just got a little wild hair. I was like, I'll become a lightweight. I dropped like 40 pounds and, did the lightweight thing for 2 years. And, like, that's when I really learned how to throw I'm like, I was getting by.
Yeah, because you've nothing.
Yeah, I was getting by, like learning being fat and like learning how to throw, like, and it was fine. Yeah. But it wasn't until like I couldn't like fake it anymore. Like I had to like really like learn how to turn and push through the right and on like all the little things. But yeah, that's what lightweight did for me, and now I can throw things a little bit better. And there has been both Nate and Isaac Burchett both were lightweights, and they were lightweights when it was like 190 was 10 pounds less even. And they had a they're having a hell of a career after that.
Watching Nate throw anything is the most insane thing in the world. It's just balls to the walls, hold on for dear life, and it's insane.
Yeah,
I don't know how he does it.
It's like him and hammers. It's like watching him, like he's whipping through it, and like you can see it. Like it's like, oh, he blew through that position, fast. But fuck it, there's another one coming around again. Let's try to hit that one, and then you catch that spot, and you're like, okay, now we can go, and it's good. I think more people should throw like, I don't want to say throw like Nate Burchett, but like be in that same kind of like headspace where we have to go hard. We have to go fast as we possibly can and punch the finish as hard as we can. Like make that like a big priority, and not like, oh, I got to like twist my right foot a little bit more. Like no, I think most people should fucking hammer them, and like you'll see your numbers like skyrocket once you do. The successful throws will go down, but the ones you do hit are going to be nasty. And I think more people should like lean into that a little bit.
Well, there's definitely situations where you just want to sort of lean into it. I also just checked because I don't know the conversion. So I'm just over 300 pounds just now, and I'm hoping to be probably under 300 at the start of the season. So I'm kind of cutting weight just now, or trying to just shred a little bit. I don't care aesthetically how I look. It's more just I want to be able to move around a bit easier. So my plan is to try and drop weight every year now until I stop throwing, whenever that is. Just because the older you get, the less weight you want to be carrying.
Yeah, I think it's nice, like especially like if you lose weight in the off season, and like, and if you do it like at a decent pace where like you're shedding pounds, and then like you come into like that first games or like the first big practice of in season or preseason, you're like, oh, I'm fast and I recover faster, and like I can probably do this whole practice over again. And you just don't realize carrying 40 extra pounds fucks you up so bad.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny. The year I tore my stomach, all the guys I remember, like Scott Ryder used to laugh about it all the time. They called that the incredible bulk because I just got so heavy. Like I was like 100 and I'll tell you the weight that I was over 150 kilograms. So you're talking like I was like 330, 340 pounds, and it took a lot of time and effort to lose that. There's a real graft there.
I don't know if I'm built for that. That would be so hard for me to like get up to 300. I honestly, like, I don't know if I would even make it. I think something would give before I even make it to 300 pounds.
It's not a weight I ever want to see on the scales again. So like post Christmas there, I was probably like 310 plus roughly, I think. My maths isn't great here with the conversion, but I was like 310 plus, but I very much enjoyed myself. Whereas post Christmas, I've been kind of trying to lock in, as the kids are saying.
It's your winter arc.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I did lightweights for a minute. Scott Farr, I just had him on the podcast again. He was a lightweight. He's probably the best lightweight we've ever seen, by far. I think he's had more world records than any of them. And they're big records too. So the lightweight class has potential to like spit out some monsters. It's just at some point you got to decide to not be 200 pounds anymore and use your monsterness.
I really like eating. It's probably one of my biggest downfalls. And I eat the right things, but I eat too much of them. That's my problem. I love just scranning. Get my big scran and I'll just go to town.
I don't like eating at all. I think that's also I'm not a fan of it. And they're like, oh, you're not cooking good food. Like maybe I'm not. I don't know. Either way, like it just seems like a burden. I just don't like doing it. I'll eat candy though. I will eat the shit out of candy and convince myself that it's good for me. So that's cool.
Sounds like an interesting approach.
I mean,
no, I especially since having a child, like he has a better palate than I ever had. Like he's ate things that I've only eaten in the last 5 years, and like scallops and stuff like that. He'll sit and eat them no problem. So like I probably cook healthier meals now than I'd ever have. So it's kind of interesting that way. Yeah,
I'm not. That's another reason why I just don't think I'll ever hit 300 is just because I just don't like food. Like I can see food and walk right by it and never think of like wanting to eat it.
Oh.
To be fair, I think a lot of that has to do with how much nicotine I consume, where I'm just not hungry. It's
weird. I feel like I've been getting to know you quite well this podcast, and you've just said you don't like food, and I kind of feel like repulsed now. I feel like I don't want to know you anymore.
Here's the thing: I respect your right to like food. Like that is your choice, and I will support it. I just don't think it's for me.
I can get behind that. So is it smoking or is it pouches? Or what do you?
Yeah, Zins. Yeah, that's my jam. I'm an addict, so to speak.
All right. I've never tried them, but I know a few of the lads quite like them when they're training or throwing or lifting.
I just like them at all the times, like right now, and then probably in like 20 minutes again. Yeah. But I was gonna add.
Well, we all have our cracks, right? Yeah.
It's a good thing I'm not like into drugs or anything, because I'd probably be really bad. But I was going to ask you, because like I mentioned earlier, like you're on the internet, you're out there, and you have been for a while, for 20 years in the sport. You've been in, like, if there's some kind of commercial Highland Games thing, you're in it. You've been in like the Netflix ones, and you've been in gosh, what's that? What's the documentary? Oh, the Heavies. You've been in that one. Yeah.
The Heavies. Yeah. I was a young lad then. Here's a fun story for you. See the guys that recorded that. Do you want to know the first time I saw them after they recorded the documentary? I was playing rugby in Crieff. I ran through. Boy tackled me. I kept moving. Got tackled by another one. Went down, turned out to the side, presented the ball back, and one of them went, Kyle! And I looked, and it was one of the guys that tackled me, was one of the documentary makers. It's the first time I saw him post I mean, I was really young then. I think I still had hair, which you could probably see I don't have
Same.
now. I actually shaved everything there just before I came on. A bald baby's arse sitting here, so that's fantastic.
I remember hearing about that documentary, like in Matt, because like again I was watching Matt Vincent videos, and he's like, oh yeah, there's someone's going to make a documentary about us or something, and that was it. And I'm like, oh, one of these days, like we're going to see it. Like, and it was years. It was like 7 years later, and they're like, here it is. It's on Amazon. Enjoy.
They were initially trying to sell it to, I think, a channel or like some. I don't know what happened, but they just put it on Amazon. So I'd love to know how it did, because it's obviously quite a unique one. But yeah, the boys put in a lot of time and effort, and they probably encapsulated the personalities that were bouncing about at the time really well, I would say.
Yeah, I liked that documentary so much that I bought it on Amazon. So and I've watched it a bunch since then. I like it. It's fun. Like if I'm, because like they were good when I'm training, and like, cause I got a garage gym, and when I'm in there training, like, I don't listen to music. Like I'll watch TV. I'll put like a show on, generally something I've seen before, and I just have it on. But if I can't find any shows, like I will just go onto Amazon and pull up the Heavies and just watch it again.
That's a unique approach, and I get the watching things you've already seen, so you don't have to pay attention, if that makes sense. So I can get I'm a music guy. I like some music on. Or either that, I'll like phone somebody and just talk shit.
I found that I don't like music like I used to, because I just like the same stuff I've always listened to. And every now and again, like I'll hear a new thing that I'm like, I kind of like that, but not that. I don't like it that much. I don't like it that much to go out of my way to listen to it. So I'll just watch TV.
What you just said is the encapsulation of shaking your hand at the clouds, like these damn kids and their new music.
That's exactly what it is. I've listened to the same music from like 1990 to 2008. That's when my music kind of stops, like those 18 years.
Are you one of these Highland Games guys from America that go on about Creed?
Oh, dude, I was so last night I was just sitting there, I was flipping on my phone, and I saw it was a reel on Instagram about Stranger Things, but they're like how it should have ended, and it was like it just transitioned into a Creed music video, and I was just sitting there thinking, like, really like nostalgic, like, man, Creed is fucking awesome. Good for them. I was just sitting there just being glad that Creed exists.
Yeah, they're a band. They're a band I do like, but I'm not quite into the heavy love that the American Games athletes give them. My version of that's probably Nickelback. I've always loved them, and I don't know why.
I don't like Nickelback.
There we go. See,
and I mean, like, I know a lot of their songs, but I'll never open Spotify and go to a Nickelback playlist. I'll go to like Nickelback adjacent playlist, and like Nickelback will come through, but I don't know. No, I'm definitely not looking for them. I'm not going out of my way for Nickelback. Oh gosh, there was another one that's very Nickelback-ish, that I do like, and I can't think of it. Again, I don't like music that much, so I can't think of it.
Probably Theory of a Dead Man or something like that.
I don't think I've ever heard of that. That sounds new to me. Yeah.
Wow. American band.
Yeah.
Again, you're like, that.
I listen to German.
Shake
I listen to German synth, so I'm just kidding. I don't.
Well, there we go.
We can wrap it up right here. I do have one more thing though, because you are
just shoot.
You're like
I'll answer.
You're like the first person I think I've had on the podcast that's thrown a 150 light hammer, right? I think it's a small group of people ever to do that, right? Do you have any like tips to get people on that path? Asking for myself and everyone else.
I would probably say that I've thrown 150 twice now at the same games with the same hammer, and it's a lead hammer, which is quite rare in Scotland, and it's a lovely bendy shaft. Yeah. It's very whippy. It's one of the hardest hammers I've ever thrown to catch, but see if you catch it, it just goes. It's a weird. So I don't know. My biggest thing for hammer is the only way to throw hammer further is to throw it. There's not really a. Like, it's funny, you were talking earlier about someone moving their foot and when they're throwing and like this, I've done that. I'll never forget when I was like 19. I threw like 130 when I was like 19. The hammers always felt smooth and easy to me. Nothing else has. But it just felt smooth and easy. And I remember an American guy that was overthrown, like, oh, what are you thinking about? The acceleration you get in the second quarter through the third quarter into your third swing when you let go, what are you thinking about? And I was like, pulling it around and lifting it. Like, I still to this day, other than locking a low point on the right and just trying to keep it there and getting a nice long pull and not rushing it, that's it. I would say to you, it's funny because you'd sort of said, you feel your hammer's locked in and you can swing it or pick it up and throw it at any point. Like, I will still swing hammer all the time. I'm just doing reps with a hammer and just swinging it and getting my body moving. The other thing I would say to you is, you said you're waiting on your big injury so you can work the hammer out. It's the only event I train pretty extensively left and right-handed, but mostly because I think this happened due to an imbalance. So, like, I can throw left-handed pretty well, and the hammer is not as well as right-handed, but it's not terrible. But I would still definitely in a competition throw right-handed. So my advice would be, if you want to avoid injury, I'd maybe throw both, and don't overcomplicate the event because it's not that hard. And my biggest thing if someone's starting is, please don't put boots on and just start throwing with them. You will not throw far. Yeah. You kind of need to earn the right to wear boots, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that to a point. Like, my thought is always like, if you're going to use blades at some point, just put them on. Like if this is something that you're going to you plan to do for a while, just might as well get them on. You're not, like, whatever your hammer number is right now, it's going to go down a little bit, but if you learn how to use the boots, like, it's going to go way beyond what you thought you could do. And so I tell people to put them on like as soon as you can, as soon as you're committed to this, like, go all in with them. But
I'd always say like 90, 100 feet and then try them, but I wouldn't put them on before that. I think you need to understand how the hammer works in terms of pulling you to put boots on and lock in for a max effort.
I think that fits in with what I'm saying, because like, you don't know you're committed to this until like you're throwing 90, 100 feet, in the light hammer. Like, that's when you're like, okay, I'm starting to I'm getting better at this. I keep showing up. Like, I've looked at games like in my area that I can go to and travel to go to more. So I think at that point, like, you're already kind of committed and might as well move on up.
Yeah, I guess it's probably we articulate it differently, but we're saying
I think
the same
so.
sort of thing.
You did have a point in when you're talking about hammers, like about like not thinking about anything, like you're not thinking about it until just lift at the finish, and like
the hammer does all the work.
I think that is super important. Like just literally like just the words like lift at the finish, I think is a lot of people can do a lot of work with that if they think about throwing it up and stop throwing it out. Does that make sense?
I mean, see the hammer as an event. If you think of it as it's an orbital event, right, when it's going round you, the only place you really have any input to the hammer is slightly off your left foot and it coming into your right shoulder. So probably not even quite half of the orbit you're in control. That's it. The rest of the time, you're holding on. I'm thinking about what I'm having for dinner. You're thinking about your next pouch, you know. You're like, oh, what's going on here? You're bringing it back around. That's the only time you have input. And that's it. All you're trying to do is accelerate it. And at the end, lift it up. I've never really, really dissected it. So, yeah, I'd probably agree. There's no way I could offer any tips on any of the other events. There's none that I feel even remotely accomplished in.
I don't know. Well, on that note, we are coming up on time. Do you have anything else to add?
Not really, man. It's Sinclair and I, like, we've kind of fell in the crux of doing podcasts like in person. So we kind of don't do them remotely. So it's been nice to just sort of talk shop. That's
an expression, yeah,
that you would use? It's been nice to get back in and kind of talk about it a bit. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I also appreciate you like putting it out there, because I'm sure people will hear this and think, oh, I'll give the games a go, or see what it's about, and that's kind of how the sport's going to continue to exist or hopefully grow at some point.
I'm just trying to do my part where other people have left off. So. Yeah, I meant to.
Well, I'm a big believer that you.
I was going to say I meant to ask you about your podcast and when we're getting more of those, because I enjoy them.
Honestly, we've made plans to do it, but see, Sinclair stays like 3 hours from me, and we can do them remotely, but they never. I know they never sound like as good when you're in like via a different media, although this has been pretty good using this.
It's not bad. It could be way better. In person is way better. It is. And so like I appreciate that you guys like do it in person, because everyone's audio is like on the same level, and we're not having to wait to like talk over each other, because like in person you can talk over each other and it makes sense. Like
I get what you're saying.
I do tote all my podcasting equipment to every games I go to, because I'm like, oh yeah, like so and so is going to be there, and we talked about doing.
You never know when there's
and like I've talked with other people, like, oh yeah, we'll record like after the games, like we'll go back to the hotel and we'll record or whatever. We never do. We're either we're too beat and or we got to leave, or we're just being normal people communicating like in person and not on a podcast.
Yeah,
but.
I always think the drive to Highland Games is a good time to do it, but then I don't know where the law sits for that. You're sitting in a car, kind of, But I feel like I've been in the car with Sinclair driving to games, and we're like, why don't we have a microphone here? Because it's such good conversations. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of it you couldn't audibly put on the internet, but there's some golden bits in there that you could put out as a medium, and it would create a conversation.
Yeah, I've thought about this. I've tried doing like a solo one in the car on the way to a games, because I'm like, I've got like some topics I can just touch on myself, and I start doing it, and I'm like, I'm just sitting there by myself in the car, just losing my train of thought and like just convincing myself this is the stupidest thing ever. So I end up stopping and deleting it, and I'll save it.
I've never tried to do one myself, and I don't know if I could. So I salute you trying. I think it's
I did 5 episodes by myself like last year, just because like I needed to build up some episodes so I can keep putting them out pretty consistent, and I was having a baby at the time, or my wife was having a baby, so I'm like, I don't know how much time I'm going to have the next like couple months. Like I'm just going to bust out a bunch of these real quick, and though they were much shorter, they were like 15-minute episodes. Like I can rant on a subject for 15 minutes.
Yeah, you could really go deep on one topic doing that. And it's funny, like my wife's pregnant just now, so this year's going to look totally different to me as well, because we're going from having one child to two. So I'm sure that'll be a fun challenge to embrace.
Yeah, it doesn't help me throw far having children, but but I'm gonna keep having them, and well, I think I'm done now. I think we're done. We have 3 kids now, so that's probably plenty. Yeah.
All right.
I say probably plenty.
Well, this is
I thought 2 was plenty, but we got 3, so we'll find out.
There we go.
But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get Sinclair on here at some point. I just gotta reach out to him. He's not on Instagram anymore or something. Can't find him.
No, he deleted it. I think he kind of locked in on his diet and like lost like a lot of weight. So this year he came out pretty lean. So I think he just tried to cull all the distractions and just eat clean and get the head down, and it really did work for him. So I think he gets fed up Instagram and people sort of pouting themselves or so he just kind of deleted it.
Totally.
Which I understand. It's a horrible medium when you're sitting there like 30 reels deep and you're like, oh yeah, you need to get off the toilet. It absorbs a lot of time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. I appreciate you coming on. We'll do it again some other time. Talk for another 2 hours. Yeah.
Correct.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Well, listen, I can hear bedtime kicking off, so I better go. But I appreciate it, right?
Thank you.